Dwain, are you there? Where are you at? Dwain! Welcome back to Beat the Beast, where news races the beast. Each and every week, we look at the latest news and trending social media topics and give our opinions of them, all before the beast hits the final brake run. I am, of course, Andrew Barchak from Chicago, Illinois, joined once again this evening by Dwayne Sponseller from Parkersburg, West Virginia. And as always, we have 4 great stories for you lined up here tonight. And just like we play every week, we have to get through these stories in 4 minutes and 10 seconds. And Dwayne, why 4 minutes and 10 seconds, if you can remind all our great guests of why we do that?
Because it's the length of your favorite wooden coaster in America, the Beast.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So you know how we love the Beast here, and our goal is to finish our opinion of the news story all before the 4 minutes and 10 seconds bell hits. When you hear that roar, that means that we did not beat the Beast and that we are hashtag worse than Beast. However, if we get done with that news story before that you hear that roar, then that means that we are hashtag better than the Beast. And, of course, we indeed did beat the Beast. So, enough with the talk, enough with the rules of the game. Let's get right into our first story this evening. So if we could put up the 4 minute and 10 second clock. And there you have it. The biggest news story coming out of this week was indeed the news that we received from Matt Ouimet, who said in an interview to the LA Times that basically all of Cedar Fair is planning to be building dark rides within the next few years. That he clearly said that all 11 properties that he holds within Cedar Fair, he plans to have some sort of dark ride in every single park. Now, we've already seen the dark ride at Canada's Wonderland, Wonder Mountain's Guardian. We now see Knott's Berry is getting their dark ride this year, Journey to the Iron Reef. So the question becomes, Dwayne, what park is going to be next to get the dark ride?
You know, I was reading the story, Andy, and I hope I didn't scare you there at the beginning of our show, but I really think that which park, I don't think it's going to be one of the bigger ones. If you think Cedar Point, I don't think so. Kings Island, I don't think so. I know that later in the story it says that don't expect one for 2016. Now, I don't know if that's just him saying that or if we know for a fact that's probably not going to happen in 2016. We know in your uncut stuff with the 4-year plan or 5-year plan for Cedar Point, you guys talked a little bit about a dark ride sometime in the next 5 years. But I would say a coaster's probably coming before that. And so if I were to pick one, Dorney, I don't know. Dorney would be my guess, something maybe King's Dominion, but my guess would be Dorney Park. But to be honest with you, I'm not really kind of positive on this. It's not that I don't like dark rides, but why would you invest in a dark ride in, say, Cedar Point? And I know people want it there. And it seems like is he really trying to bring the Disney side out of him? Is he trying to bring more family-oriented stuff into what we really consider an enthusiast park like Cedar Point, where people typically want to have the biggest and the fastest and the longest and the tallest? And really, with a dark ride, can you do that? So I don't know if this is the best thing for every single park. It kind of brings me back to the whole my favorite ride of all time, the Windseeker, how you would put them in every park, and they didn't quite work out so well. Now, I know in the story he says that that's not going to be the case with this, that it's going to be they're going to take some time with it, that it's not going to be all, manufactured at one time and sent to all the parks at the same time. But I don't know. I mean, but what can you really do now with a ride, unless you can build a building that you can change the story over and over and over again? That I'm for. But if you just give me a dark ride that's always going to be the same thing all the time, and you're not going to put as much money into it like they did down in Universal, I'm not for it. I'll give you some time to talk on this as well.
He for sure said that these dark rides are not going to cost as much. I think the going rate for most of them are right around $10 million, which puts it at the same rate as like a larger flat ride. Like your Windseekers basically cost right around $10 million. So it's not really a huge expense you're looking for. Now, up at Canada's Wonderland, they've already shown that you can indeed change the story. So during the whole summer, they have the story of the dragon inside the mountain. But then for Halloween Haunt, they changed it to an all-zombie storyline. So you can definitely change the story in these. But that's been one of the main criticisms of them, is that they're a little too bland. It's all screens, it's just shooting, and it doesn't have that 3D element that you see in other places. My pick is Worlds of Fun. Paul Drayback said it a few days ago when I posted it. He said doing an 80 days around the world dark ride would be a lot of fun. I think it's a great idea, and I think Worlds of Fun definitely needs a new ride. But so that's my pick, is Worlds of Fun. I know we didn't beat the Beast, but indeed I think we got a lot of things out of that conversation. So let's move on to our next story, and if we could once again start the clock. Now, this story, there's not a lot of information on it. It's following in the same theme of the dark ride. So we got two kind of like quasi-dark ride stories going on here. And also this week, we found out at the Dubai Comic-Con that Avengers at this new park called the IMG Worlds of Adventure out in the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, that they're building this huge new park with roller coasters and flat rides. A lot of it's indoors. Some of the roller coasters are a little bit outdoors, where you have an indoor-outdoor thing going on. But they just announced that they're going to do an Avengers Battle for Ultron ride. Now, not a lot of stuff is known about this ride right now, where all we know is the quote that we got from the Comic-Con that basically said, "The ride will blend cutting-edge stereoscopic 3D media with a highly detailed, realistic physical set and explosive special effects designed to create a fully immersive experience." Now, that's really interesting because it doesn't sound like a 4D or 5D theater here. It doesn't sound like that at all, because my first thought was that's exactly what it was going to be, because a lot of these places are doing these Avengers things, and it's all like 4D, 5D theater stuff, where you sit in your seat and some things happen, water squirts at you, they rumble. But this sounds like it's going to be a lot bigger than that. Now, I looked far and wide all over the internet, and I couldn't find any huge other pieces of information on this story at all. So right now, I think a lot of us are still in the dark about it. But indeed, I think there's a good chance here that it's going to be a dark ride that has some sort of motion in it. It talks about physical sets. That's a huge deal. So we know it's not just going to be screens, that they're actually going to do physical sets. It sounds like they're either going to have some pretty cool special effects in it. What do you think, Dwayne?
Well, my guess for this, why it's coming out right now, is because the movie's getting ready to come out.
Yeah.
I'm sure that they're wanting to get the name out there, and we know that the new Avengers movie is set to air or to be put in theaters here real soon. So I would say that's one reason why. I'm not real sure how far along they really are on this project. We really can't find a lot of information, even though it is going to be in Dubai. It's going to be part of this huge complex. I was reading that story, and it was like over a million square feet of this entire theme park complex or whatever. That's huge. Now, Dubai likes to do everything big. Okay, that's the one city in the Middle East that literally does everything really big. One of the most expensive places to live in the world, if I'm not mistaken, as well. But again, is it going to be something that people will latch onto? Maybe once we get more information. But is it going to be something like what we see at Universal with some of the rides you like down there, some of the dark rides, maybe I don't know, one of the Harry Potter dark rides or something like that? Or is it going to be something that reminds me of that goofy flying simulator type thing that's at Busch Gardens that I don't even know that's even open anymore that they took out. But like you said, like a 5D theater, because if that's what it is, the hype is not going to be there, and then I'm going to make fun of it. So, but I just don't get, because we don't have a price. If we knew a price tag, then maybe we would understand what it is. But there's nothing out there. Like you said, we look far and wide, and there's absolutely nothing.
No manufacturer. We just don't know what this is all about. You know, the facility, if you can find pictures, like the roller coaster's pretty much already built. The facility is going to be huge. This is going to be a huge deal. This park is not like some flash in the pan. It's not some theory. This is going to be a huge deal, the IMG Worlds of Adventure. So hopefully this Avengers Ride fits right into that as well. So that time, I think we indeed beat the beast once again. So we were able to get right there underneath the 4 minutes and 10 seconds. So let's move on to our next story, which is kind of interesting. So if we could start the clock once again. And there you have it. This story is coming out of Holiday World. A very interesting story that they released a press release that's saying that says that their new roller coaster, Thunderbird, is going to be what I think is the first commercially released ice cream based on a roller coaster. Now, we all know that Banshee is, and we know better than other people, because we had about 7 of them on Media Day last year. We know that Banshee has its own ice cream, but you can only get that in the park. This is actually going to be released to 27 different states. It's going to be a Thunderbird ice cream, and it's going to be carried in a number of different stores, like I said, by Prairie Farms. And the flavor is kind of interesting as well, where it's going to be vanilla with loops of caramel and spicy scorched pecans. So, Dwayne, being that we are the ice cream experts, maybe we should weigh in on this.
I tell you what, I saw this come out, and I am not a pecan fan. Pecan, wherever you're from, it doesn't matter. I am not a pecan fan. So I was not a happy camper when I heard this, because I'm going to get to go down there and sample this at Media Day. And I'm telling you, I was excited, but then I realized it had pecans in it. I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that. So, and especially when they're spicy. I'll try it. I'll try anything once. But I just don't know that I'll like it like I did the Banshee ice cream, where I ate 7 of them. We may have had more than that. 7 may be on the low end of that one. But I tell you what, I do like that. I mean, how often you would never see one of the commercial parks like Cedar Fair parks do this. I doubt. But when you get a locally owned park like this, I see it as a positive thing for this park. You know, get it out there to more people, because a lot of people, to be honest with you, don't know about Holiday World.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we in the industry do, but when you think about roller coaster theme parks, you think Disneyland, Disney World, Cedar Point, Kings Island. But how many people, if you were to go out on the street and survey, would say Holiday World?
Exactly.
If I were to survey 10 people, 100 people, maybe 1, and that's only because they would have been there. So I think with this, they're using it as an extra marketing tool. Get it out there to 27 states. Say, look what we have. We're not just a wooden coaster park anymore. We have this brand new, modern, one-of-a-kind launched wing coaster, and here's an ice cream named after it to help you remember it by. And I think that's the perfect thing to do for a park of this size.
And I think that it really has to do with that Prairie Farms, who's distributing this ice cream, is headquartered in Carlinville, Illinois, which is right across the border. It's farmer-owned, just like Holiday World is family-owned. So I think there's a lot of great connections here that can be made. And like you said, getting out to 27 states and having your name out there, I think that's an awesome win for Holiday World. That's an awesome win for any park, because, you get into these regional areas and a lot of people just know the park that's right next door. They might not know the park that's 100 miles away. That I still meet people to this day in Chicago that have never heard of, like, Cedar Point or, and especially Holiday World. So this is an awesome opportunity for Holiday World to get out that word, like you were saying, but more importantly, it's fun. It's a great thing. I do like pecans. I'm a huge pecan fan. I don't know if I like spicy pecans, but definitely I think this is something to look for. So I'm really excited. Maybe you'll need to bring me a box or something, or maybe I'll need to go to the store and find it somewhere, my local grocer.
If I brought it to you, it'd probably melt, so that's not going to work.
And there you go. There is the bell right after we finished our story. So as always, each and every week, we like to play a little game for our fourth story. And tonight, Dwayne, why don't you explain to us? It's an oldie but a goodie. So why don't you tell us what we're going to do this evening?
All right. Well, we're going to go back to one of our original games, and we're going to play The Odds. And of course, as always, with The Odds, we're going to take a topic, and Andy and I are going to decide on what we think the percentage is of this specific topic actually occurring or happening. And it's one of my favorites because usually Andy and I don't really agree on this, and so we're hoping that this topic will go the same way tonight. And so I'll send it back over to Andy, who'll give you the topic for tonight's odds.
Okay, and as always, we also race the beast on this one as well. So it's 4 minutes and 10 seconds on the clock, and there you have it. So this week, the odds, we're going to look at the story of PETA, our favorite animal rights activist group. PETA's at it again. PETA has now vowed to protest not SeaWorld, not Busch Gardens, not a zoo, but the home of the new CEO of SeaWorld Parks and Entertainment, Joel Manby. That they said that they are going to go to his house in Georgia, protest outside, and carry signs that say Joel Manby runs orca prisons and the world is watching, release orcas to sanctuaries. So, Dwayne, let's throw it over to you. What do you think the odds of PETA actually going out to his house to actually protest?
Well, before I give you my odd percentage, I want to go back to a story during the Tournament of Roses parade when our favorite animal rights activist, PETA, decided that they were going to forcefully stop the SeaWorld float from going through the parade, and they did so and got arrested for their troubles. So if they're going to do that, if they're going to pose nude and naked for certain things and wrap themselves up in cellophane and bubble wrap and all of this, then what is going to stop them from going to Joel Manby's home and protesting? Hey, it's their First Amendment right? So with that, they are allowed to do that. Do I think it's something they should be doing? Do I think this is a complete waste of time? Absolutely. But again, I can't defend, all right, being a constitutionalist. It's their First Amendment right. You want to protest? Go ahead. But I can think of 100,000 things more that they should be protesting than what they are. So if I were to give odds of them doing this, I'm going to say 99% because they're doing it everywhere else. They said they're going to do it. They're going to do it it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what anybody says. They think they are in the right, and they're going to continually do what they always do, and that is find out a way to protect animals. At least that's what they think they're doing.
Well, Dwayne, I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with you. I think you are completely off on your percentage because I think it's a 100% possibility that they're going to go to this man's house to protest because these guys are kind of crazy. Let's be honest. They're really extreme activists. Now, you know me. I was on the front line of the Blackfish debate. I was one of the first ones commenting 2 or 3 years ago about Blackfish. I wrote a review of the movie. I went to the theater to see the movie. It changed my mind about SeaWorld. I boycotted SeaWorld for an entire year. And now, since the Blue World project was released, I've changed my tune on that. I said this new project is the way SeaWorld needs to go. Joel Manby's hiring is the way SeaWorld needs to go. The bottom line is, though, is you are never going to make the extremists happy. That's anywhere in life. You can never make an extremist happy because they're always going to want something more. So even if Joel Manby was to acquiesce and appease these people and put the orcas back into sanctuaries or do whatever they want, then they would just go after the next thing and the next thing. That these are people that don't want you eating meat. They don't want you eating chicken wings. I love my chicken wings. I love eating meat. Not all meat. I'm not a huge steak guy. I like a good hamburger. I like a good hot dog. But the bottom line is you're never going to appease the PETA extremists. So Joel Manby has to blaze a new path for SeaWorld. Maybe that includes the animals. I don't know if it does. We talked about it on the Blackfish episode of Uncut. But I don't know what that path is. But I do know that PETA will be protesting this.
I'm not so sure that a hot dog can be considered meat.
Oh, stop. It's the best form of meat. What are you talking about? Hot dogs. You're un-American. Take that back right now. Hot dogs and hamburgers.
I can't have them anymore.
Oh, I just ate 2 today. They're delicious. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think that wraps up another episode of Beat the Beast, where news races the beast. Thank you once again for joining us here for these great 4 news stories. As always, you can look down below. We have links to COASTER.net to give you the full stories if you want to read up on them. And please, as always, subscribe to our forums, comment on the videos, and subscribe. Of course, I am Andy Rybarczyk from Chicago, Illinois.
And I'm Dwayne Sponseller from Parkersburg, West Virginia. And next week, we will have a report from Media Day at Holiday World for Thunderbird. And may the queue lines be ever in your favor here early on in the park season. And we'll see you next week.
Right on, Ride Warriors.